taxes on it. The government found out about it, didn't like it, said there was really no risk shifting because there was really no risk transfer because the insurance company was completely covered by on the life insurance by the money it was made on the annuity. It said in order for it to be insurance, there has to be risk shifting, or sometimes called risk transfer, and which I'll get into more later, and there has to be risk distribution. So it has to be in the commonly accepted notions of insurance. So what does that mean? Well, that can mean a whole lot of different things to different people. It can mean different things to the IRS also. So, for example, the IRS has this whole notion of what is called business risk. They're saying you can only insure insurance risks as opposed to business risks. All right. So if I'm a doctor, and they're not really clear what that means. So if I'm a doctor and I leave a sponge in my patient's stomach after I sew him back up, I'm in the business of doing operations. That's my business risk. And I've always been able to buy malpractice insurance to cover that. So what's the difference? Well, so it's hard to say exactly where the line is drawn. But generally, if something smells like a business or investment risk as opposed to an insurance risk, then there's a potential that the IRS can say that is not really an insurance risk. Although where the line is hard to say. Another example would be the IRS didn't like a request for a private letter ruling was put in for nuclear power plants. They wanted to provide insurance for the close-down cost of the nuclear power plants. Now, it was certain that they had to close down at some time, but the date wasn't certain, and certainly the cost was not certain. And they said, well, that's a business risk. That's not insurance. Well, life insurance, it's pretty certain that you're going to die at some point. It's just a matter of when, right? So what's the difference with that? Or health benefits for a business. It's certain that health benefits are going to be used. We just don't know the exact amount. But that's the position of the IRS. Where the courts are on that, it's hard to say. Then on risk distribution, that generally is the idea that an insurance company has a pool of premiums from various different insureds, and through the law of large numbers, not everybody's going to get hit at the same time. And it's also the notion that that any particular insured's risk are not going to be primarily paid by his premiums. So they want some type of risk distribution there. And it also contemplates a fortuitous occurrence of a state of contingency in a policy. Those are some of the language that is used. Generally, what it means is what you generally think about insurance. Now, the problem with that is that, going back to my earlier subject, is that what is primarily covered in insurance now is not what was covered before. And what is covered by your broker that comes to see you is not all that's available in the commercial markets. Available in the commercial markets are a lot of special policies that you can get that a lot of brokers don't have access to or not aware of. So there's a whole lot of insurance risks that are not available out there in the insurance market. Somebody just asked, does a captive need to be a C corporation? For tax purposes, they're always taxed as C corporations. So you could even theoretically, you could form a captive as a general partnership. It would be kind of a crazy thing to do, but the tax returns would have to be filed as a C corporation. So if you form it as an LLC, it's still taxed as a C corporation.